Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for another informational interview. My name is Amani Miles, and I am a Student Success Coordinator at Evolve502. And I'm here today with Jimmy Kidd, the Director of Admissions at Jefferson Community and Technical College. And today we're going to be having a conversation about applying and attending Jctc and any updates they may have for their future students. And this conversation is going to be slightly different from the previous ones we've had for those of you viewing, because we're not broadcasting live, but we still encourage you to engage with us. We check our social media often, and we'll continue to welcome questions and comments for whenever you are viewing this. And we will also provide information in which you may follow up with Jctc. But before we get started, I'm going to talk about Evolve502, the work that I do, and why we are having this conversation today. So, as I mentioned, I'm with Evolve502, and we work with public and private agencies to support students to be successful in school, career, and throughout life. And as a student success coordinator, I work with students in JCPS high schools to develop college and career plans, as well as connect them with the resources and supports they need to reach their goals beyond high school. And the students that we work with at Evolve502 have questions and concerns regarding how their first college semester will look like, especially in the pandemic that we're in right now. Some students are either still weighing their options in terms of where they might attend college, and other students could be preparing to move forward where they've been accepted and just want as much information as they can. So today I have some questions for Jimmy, and he will be able to provide us with a lot of important information and updates for future Jctc students. So Jimmy, I really appreciate you for being here today, and I'm going to hand it over to you so you can introduce yourself and tell us about the work you do.
Thank you. I am Director of Admissions. I also now work with testing. I've been at Jefferson for about 5 years, almost to the day. So it's been a fun journey. I've been in admissions for pretty much the last 12 years in some way, shape, or form here in the city of Louisville. Worked for the University of Louisville prior to coming to Jefferson, and I love admissions and I love talking about college. So this is right up my alley, and I'm ready to go. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for being here, and we're just going to get straight into it. So the first question that I have for you is, how is Jctc adjusting in response to the COVID-19 pandemic to support future fall 2020 students?
That is a wonderful question, and I wish I could give you every answer right now.
Understandable.
Yeah. Of course, a lot's still up in the air. A lot of our classes are looking like to be more of a hybrid style class, with some online learning, with the hopes of being predominantly in person, because we don't know what's going to happen. If something was to happen, we would be able to shift a little easier to the online model that kind of happened this spring. Of course, we do have some courses that's a little harder because the technical part of our name, Jefferson Community and Technical College, some of the technical labs, your nursing and your like your aviation maintenance or your automotive classes, those labs still have to be run in order for students to earn the degree and the certifications. So even right now, we're finishing up some of those labs from the spring. So we're still moving along, and because we couldn't teach them right away, we kind of had to wait for our phased reopening, and now students are coming back and they've learned how to run those labs with a few students at a time, practicing social distancing, and I think that's the model that they're going to adapt in the fall if needed. I mean, we're going to need it a little bit, but hopefully not quite to the degree that we had this spring.
So in terms of your of the campus right now, are students actually able to visit right now, or are you all still closed in that?
We're closed to tours, but as I say, because of our location, the downtown location anyway, being on the corner of 2nd and Broadway, students can come by campus and look around, but they're not going to be able to get into buildings. We're working on a new video for a virtual tour. If students do go onto our website, they can look up, and we have already a walking tour map, and they can look at the map and see the buildings and list out the buildings and what's in each building. It needs to be updated slightly, but it's still pretty accurate. And so we are doing some of that. We're doing a lot of kind of like we're doing right now. We're doing a lot of info sessions, so we can meet with future faculty members, which I highly recommend. We've done some some admissions work. Just, hey, this is how you apply, and we're walking people through the admissions process. Hopefully in July we'll be able to be on campus a little more. And do some smaller group tours, but I don't know that yet for certain.
Okay. So the next question that I have for you, I think you actually already addressed one of them that I had in terms of the virtual tour. So that's good. You already touched on that. But in terms of the admission process now, how is that different than how it was before? How has it changed?
The process itself has not changed a ton, except that some of the back end stuff, our testing is being done remotely. Our admissions piece has been primarily done online. Our SOAR is now or orientation. Sorry, I shouldn't call it SOAR if you don't know what it is. It's what we call orientation at Jefferson. It's done all online now instead of in person. So some of those back end processes have changed after a student gets admitted, but the admissions process really hasn't changed, except for in the spring we get to go to a lot of schools in the area, because what we see is a lot more students becoming interested in community college in the spring after they receive their aid and really start looking at how much college is going to cost and our affordability. So they look at that and they go, okay, I need some help applying. And we're in those schools constantly helping students apply and get ready for orientations. So we have had some of that lost in the pandemic, which is kind of fun for us because we're not able to be there in person. We typically actually peak in applications in July. So wait until after they attend orientation at another college, or they just say, hey, I forgot about college and now I'm here. And so we peak in July, and I don't know what that's going to look like if we're not on campus, because everything's going to have to be submitted still virtually. And we're working remotely. So that's changed a little bit, but placement has changed a little bit. Now we're actually using not just the ACT, but we're using the GPA for placement. So that's not necessarily a process, but that's a big change for us. And that allows our students to go through orientation a lot easier. Once we get a transcript, we were using transcripts either from the end of junior year or the first semester of senior year, and now we're using the final transcript since we're seeing those come in, and using the GPA to help place students into coursework so we can get you into orientation and get you moving so you can see an advisor.
Okay, I noticed that you mentioned placement testing, and I know with students that I work with, especially now that you've mentioned it's going remotely, can you describe that process a little bit?
Yeah, I can. Hopefully not nearly as many students are needing to take placement testing now because of the GPA placement that we're able to use. But we still have some that want to, because maybe their GPA put them in developmental education and they're not wanting to be in developmental education, or they didn't meet the placement that they were hoping. So we are testing remotely. There's a link on our testing website, which you get to through jefferson.kctcs.edu, and click on admissions, and testing's right there. And you can go on and put in your info. Our testing site will reach back out to you. It is being done through Zoom right now, so student has to make sure that they have Zoom on their computer. And we've had some students who will come on and want to have Zoom on their phone and test on the computer, and we can't do that. We have to be able to take control of the computer, so it doesn't need to be on the laptops. There will be, mic is needed and a camera is needed on the laptop. There is also the option of going through. We use Examity. If a student, because there is somewhat of a wait, we can't get you into testing like within 24 hours, but Examity you can use to take AccuPlacer, but there is a cost associated with it. So most of our students have chosen to just wait for the testing center to be able to test. It's not a long wait, but to test, because they don't want to pay the 20. I think it's $20 for Examity. So.
All right, I know that'll be particularly important for a lot of students I'm working with right now, and some are actually still deciding whether they want to apply to Jctc or not. So that's great that you mentioned that.
The GPA placement is really a game changer for a lot of our students. And I'm like, it's your transcript, and we can get you moving. And even if we get you through orientation, and let's say you've not placed where you want to in math, but you're fine in reading and English with your GPA, you can always test in just math and still keep the process moving, so you don't have to wait. And that's really excited me on the admissions side of things. Like we get to use GPA for placement. It's awesome.
And you're saying that the placement test is now like an option if they want to.
Yeah, unless their GPA doesn't place them into the courses needed. So yeah.
Okay.
Now, if that's the case, then they still will need to test, but there's a very good chance that they don't need to test. And so many studies out there show that GPA placement is better than testing placement. So I'm really excited to kind of follow the fall of 2020 class to see how they do on their placement. Because if it works out for us, then maybe in the long run, we'll be able to help students get placed into classes better just based on GPA.
Right, absolutely. And that kind of brings me right into my next question. I heard you mention that you get most of your applications in July, but I'm curious as to what the current application deadline is, or if that fluctuates or changes, or.
I always say our deadline is, sure, we'll take an application. We'll work with it. Now, for first-time students, it's a little different. I always ask students, try to urge them by July 15th. That is not a deadline, though. We will work with you afterwards. But it gets a lot more difficult after July 15th, because you still have to complete the orientation process. You still need to complete placement in whatever shape that looks like. So it starts to get a little trickier after about July 15th, just because so many people are applying at once. And of course, this year, I don't know if we're going to be on campus. So not being on campus adds a wrinkle to it. Whereas we used to have students who, would walk in and be able to complete the application on the spot, and we could say, here's your next step. Now there's that lag, because you're working with us remotely and through email. So there might be a little window where you're not moving through as quickly as you were when we were in person. The absolute real deadline for first-time students is August 12th, because classes start on August 17th. That's the Wednesday before classes. They have to be enrolled by then in order to, and that's enrolled, not just applied. It's enrolled in order to have a seat for the classes that begin on August 17th.
Okay. The next question that I have for you actually is the fact that there may be classes that need to be taken remotely. Do you all offer any resources for students for just understanding that process of just online learning, because it's going to be super new for a lot of people?
It's way different, yeah. Now, I will say and this is an interesting aspect to me working in my position, is I'm kind of curious at how the seniors that graduate in 2020 are actually going to do in online courses, because they're finishing up their senior year and it's been done remotely. So
Right.
for me, for me being the old guy that I am, I've always been like, so, if this is your first online course, if this is your first, summer course, you might not want to do that with college just because it's so different. You're not going to be used to it.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know. So I'm kind of very curious to see how this class does if classes go online. But yeah, we absolutely do offer some tutorials on how to be able to work the online process. We've got the Learning Commons, which will help tutor, and I think they're geared more now. They're thinking about how learners are going to learn remotely.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Nuz, who's our director of online learning, he has put up wonderful tutorials through Blackboard, which a student will get access to after they're admitted and enrolled, and they're going to be able to go online and view those tutorials and videos to prepare themselves for possibly being all online in the fall, which hopefully is not the case, but possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for that. I know that is a place of anxiety for some young people, having to switch remotely when they, were looking forward to taking classes in person. And that's all that, their friends and family have done that are older than them. So it's really good to know that they have resources there.
I know some of the people that I work with on a day-to-day, like my staff, they love online learning. They love the online classes.
Really?
They loved it. And for me, because of when I went through school, 20 plus years ago, I wasn't used to that. And so it's something that I've had to change with just even how I talk to students. And I'm very curious. This senior class, I'm kind of like, no, you all have this. You all have done this already. You've been there doing remote work at like so unexpected. And yeah, it may be slightly different than what you expected, but you handled this crisis as well. This should be nothing for you. I've got to learn how to work my classes in a more disciplined manner, because the intentionality of an in-person class, you're expected to be there at 8 o'clock, whereas you're not expected to be there for the online course at 8 o'clock. So that's going to be a little bit of a struggle maybe to get adjusted to. But I think that this class is probably more prepared than any other class I've ever seen for online learning.
And that's a really refreshing perspective that you put it that way. Is like that students have already been able to manage and shift their learning online and to succeed. So it's just an extension of that. So that's really refreshing to hear that take.
I'm hopeful. I'm so hopeful and excited. So don't prove me wrong. Come on, class.
For the next question that I have for you, what supports maybe that you haven't already mentioned are in place to help students and families that are affected by COVID-19?
Yeah, that has been a challenge, I think, for all colleges, to be honest with you. We, of course, have our emergency fund that we have directed students to apply for. We had the CARES Act for students that were already in school that were affected through COVID, but now we're directing students through the emergency fund to apply. And we've seen an increase in applications there through the emergency fund. So I know that they've asked students to only apply once. Don't do multiple applications. It may take a minute or two to get through all the applications that they are seeing. Once we get back, one of the things that Jefferson has, we have our food bank we call the Hub, and it was really working and running really well. Even through the beginning of the pandemic, where we were still sort of allowed on campus. And then, when the total shutdown happened, that had to shut down. I do know that there's a plan in place that they're hoping to get that reopened very soon and get that moving for our students who have the hunger needs, the food needs. And, one of the things that we did as a college, we knew that a lot of our student population may not have the technology that they needed to survive in the online course world, with libraries closing and us not having our computer labs open. We went through and actually distributed a lot of our old computers to students, and even some staff to help with their technology needs. And if a student has technology needs, they are still encouraged to apply through the emergency fund, because we may still have some computers out there that students can use if needed for the possible online courses that they're going to be in. So I was very impressed with the response that the college had as an admissions person, just seeing the Jefferson community really helped the student community and the staff community and faculty community, because it wasn't just students that were able to be assisted in that time.
Mm-hmm. And in that same regard, in terms of resources and support, just given everything that's going on, I think it's important that students planning to attend college are aware of the resources to support their mental health specifically. What resources does Jctc offer to support students in that way?
That's a great question. And right now it is the mental health is maybe the most important I've ever seen it at this time. It's you've got a lot going on in the world and just locally in our community. So with mental health, we actually partner. We have a very strong partnership with Spalding University, where our students can go through and use the Center for Behavioral Health at Spalding, which is their counseling office, and can receive counseling through Spalding. So that has been one of our strongest partnerships. And from the admissions perspective, I want to also talk about, Spalding. We've got a good partnership with them, a good partnership with U of L, but and we're developing one with Bellarmine. So it is wonderful, but it's not just on this front end and transfer process, which from an admission standpoint, that's typically what I end up talking about. But Spalding really has stepped up and helped with the counseling of our students. Not just now, but the last few years, that's been a very strong partnership for counseling.
All right, yeah, that's something that I've been thinking a lot more about lately. Just given everything going on, to remind students about mental health and being able to reach out to be assisted in that way.
Yeah.
So, kind of shifting back to the admissions aspect again, I think that juniors and underclassmen get left out of the conversation, other than sometimes ACT. But in what ways can juniors and underclassmen engage with Jctc to get them to start thinking about attending?
That is a great question, because it is one that is near and dear to the community college, not just in Louisville, but in the whole state of Kentucky, because they can get involved with dual credit. Most students, their dual credit come through a community college source before they either transfer on or stay with the community college in the state of Kentucky and get their associate's degree. So right away is talk to your guidance counselors about taking dual credit courses where you can get college credit while you're in high school. I wish I would have done it. It probably would have saved me a year in the front end, or in college. I jokingly say to classes that I go into and talk is, I didn't do dual credit. I ended up spending 5 years in college. My wife did, dual credit. She spent 3. That averaged out four per for the person. So dual credit is one. Just look at it. It may not be for you, but it is a wonderful option for students to get that experience. 2, I know that we aren't doing tours right now to visit, but we are doing online info sessions. We are still talking to prospective students every day. We are working with students every day. And eventually we are going to be back on campus. And in that window, make sure that you visit campus. And we are, I've said several times the community college is kind of the hidden gem in most communities just because of affordability. And students never know when you're going to need a community college, because we don't just work with, a lot of students think, oh, I just go there and then I transfer on to U of L, or I transfer on to IUS, or wherever the case may be. But we do the technical college. We provide that trade so you can go straight into the workforce. We have a workforce development, so sometimes students bypass college altogether and they go straight into work, and then a year or two into work, they're working for a company that says, we really need you to take a course. And guess what? We're the ones teaching that course often. And then sometimes even the students who don't think that they're going to attend a community college, they know they're going to go right onto a 4-year institution. They go on and then they figure out, hey, I can get ahead if I take a summer course at the community college when I come home. And they use us as a visiting student. That's primarily what we work with in the summer. Is most of our population is visiting students from other schools. And so look at us now. Look at us as a junior or sophomore, just so you know what's available. We are the most affordable option, in the state, and it's designed that way. We are here to support the community and support the students. Doesn't matter what level you're at. We are here to support you and help you achieve your goals and get you to that next step, whatever the next step may be for you. So look, don't wait until July. Yes, we have people that wait till July, and that's something too. We will be there for you. But the earlier you do it, the better off you are. The better your chances of success are, is if you're working with us early.
And I appreciate that you mentioned the whole visiting student aspect, because when I was in high school, it's funny, I completely forgot until you mentioned dual credit that I actually did that as a senior. But I never knew, it was never talked about in terms of the visiting, during the summer, or being able to engage in different ways, even if students do plan on going to a 4-year college. Like, that's just stuff, it just wasn't talked about. So
even when I was at U of L, in admissions, I didn't think of it. It was when I started at Jefferson, I was like, yes, we are here for everybody. There's a reason why community is in our name. That is, we are here for you. And that actually is what, as cheesy as it may sound, that's what gets me excited for my job. I love being part of this community, and it's really awesome.
Yeah, that kind of moves me to my next question. So in terms of students who have already been admitted and are just kind of waiting to see how things go in the fall, what would you suggest that they should be doing right now, that they could be doing right now?
One, make sure everything for financial aid is completed. That is, I preach the Fafsa all the time. Make sure your financial aid, your free application for federal student aid is completed, and make sure that you're checking, because sometimes there's extra paperwork at the back end once you complete it. Just because you submit doesn't mean that everything's good to go. Check with us. Look in your student account that you should have set up by now, and make sure that you don't have extra paperwork to submit. And then I always get that question, well, I know I'm not eligible for anything. I'm not going to complete it. No, please complete it. We want you to. As someone who worked in financial aid like 15 years ago, I can't tell you how many times somebody would come in and sit down at my desk and go, I need a loan. And have you completed your FAFSA? And they'll go, no. And I'm like, well, that's where we need to start. And so telling students, even if you don't accept the loan, you don't have to accept the loan right away. Just have it there, have it on hand. Be ready if you need it. So FAFSA is definitely one. Make sure that's completed. Two, if you are coming to us, go ahead and apply if you've not applied. That is a gimme. If you have applied, and we are reaching out to students all the time, constantly reaching out. But if you haven't seen our communications, I know that sometimes students use different email accounts and don't check all their email accounts all the time. And like, reach out to us, look on our orientation webpage, complete the orientation form so we can get you through orientation, or if you need to go through testing, we can direct you over there. So now's the time to go ahead and get that process started so we can get you to advising, so we can get you into your classes for the fall.
And I'm glad that you mentioned the barrier of just even having the right email, because I've personally worked with students that are like, I don't know if I got it. I checked my email, and then they look at and they reach out to someone from Jctc and they're saying, "Is this the right email?" No.
I laugh because I have one too as well. I have that burner email account that you'll type in on something you'll use for something that you're not thinking about.
Yeah.
And you've got to check that email account because that's how we're sending things to you through admissions. Now, once you get admitted and enrolled, we start sending you through the email through Jefferson or the KCTCS email account that you get. But when we get you admitted, we have to use what you're given to us. So, and if you've moved, we send out an admissions letter. If you've moved and we send out an admissions letter and you moved and you didn't tell us, or something like that, you got to make sure that we know your up-to-date address as well. So, and I get you're not thinking about it. So if you hear it and it's you, go ahead and let us know. We'll get you updated.
And especially as it gets closer to, when classes are going to start, we really got to get kids to pay attention to, the ways that y'all are going to reach out to them. So,
yes.
In terms of just the graduating seniors of the class of 2020, what advice would you give to students who are still trying to figure out where they want to go during the time like this?
Oh man. One, I personally, for this class, I am excited to see what they do. They are in such a unique point in our history. Like, just flat, I can't even.
Absolutely.
It's not an understatement to say, you all have gone through a lot more than any of us could have imagined. And I know that other senior classes have faced trials and tribulations, but right now there's a lot going on in the world. So you all are getting ready to set the world on fire. So that is awesome. Take some time to sit and reflect. What is important for you? What are you looking for in a college experience? And I know that right now there's so much unknown. And listen to your support people. We all have someone that we lean on for support. Talk to whoever your support person is and be open and honest. I don't know if I can afford this college just yet, or I had my heart set here, but I'm worried about this part of my life or that part of my life, and just be open and honest and be open to feedback. This is an exciting time. I get very excited in the spring, early summer. It's kind of the nature of my job. I went through some sadness this spring, just like everybody else, because I get excited at our graduations. I get excited to see people walking across the stage. I am, the last 4 years at Jefferson, I have been able to high five everybody that goes through our lines at graduation, and I get excited. So I know that there's been some disappointment in high school graduations and things like that. So, but it's time, like, it's exciting too. Like, you made it. You made it through like one of the hardest springs anybody could have imagined.
Absolutely.
You are strong. We are here for you. If you have questions about a program, if you have just questions about college, reach out to us. Let us know. We've got great mentors at the college that we can put you in touch with. We've got our faculty. Our faculty are amazing. They get excited about their area of expertise. I remember going to college and being very nervous about talking to faculty. I've been recruiting for, like I said, 12 plus years, and people always are like, I don't know if I should ask faculty this or that. That's what they're there for. They get excited to hear about your excitement or even your questions about maybe a major. Like they want to help you. So ask questions. There is definitely no stupid question right now. Be patient with our answers though at the college, because maybe we don't know entirely what it's going to look like. I've had to say a lot. Yeah, my answer's true as of 6/17 at noon or whatever. This is true. But keep in mind, keep a look on the website. Something could change. We're planning for in-person classes that could go remote, but let's say we have an uptick in cases and the governor comes back through and says, hey, we need to be online, and then we have to go all online. So, which this class, I don't worry about being flexible. I feel like if anything, they have been nothing but flexible their entire lives. So.
And I'm sure that'll be really good just for young people to hear and actually feel, because I can feel your excitement through, just us talking virtually here. So that'll be really great for kids to really feel that when they reach out to adults and professors and people at the institution. So
hopefully we get the same excitement through an email. An email is not as exciting as talking on the phone.
Right.
So.
And that brings me to the next question that I have for students that do have questions in regards to admissions. Should they reach out to you directly, or is there a certain avenue they can go through? Or
we have a few avenues actually, because we have such a large volume of calls that come in, and because a lot of our students have day jobs, they need more night help. We actually have a 24-hour, 7-day a week, 365-day call center. Oh, wow. And that info is on the website, but the number is 855-246-5282. Did that from memory. I think it's the first time I've not had to look it up. So exciting in there. They can call. It's also an email center and a chat center. And if someone can't answer the general questions, they send to us, and we get back to the student within 24 hours, or at least one business day. It kind of on the weekend may take us a little longer. But that's one. Our contact info is all on the admissions webpage. If you go to the homepage and click on admissions, it is there. We are there. The recruitment team is wonderful. I can't express enough how amazing that they have been in this time and really working. They don't just stop at 5. They are working on emails all the time, trying to help the students get through. So if you reach out to Liam or Elizabeth or Amalia or Janessa, who all are on the webpage with me, they will reach back out very quickly. Our orientation, even if you get lost and you only find the orientation link, you fill out the orientation link. If you're not ready for orientation, we will talk you through the next steps. There's ways to get a hold of us, and we will talk to you. We will work with you as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really good for our students to know, and just all students to know that there are multiple ways that they can reach out to people, and especially if it doesn't fit with their schedule, there's still another option. Yeah. So that brings me to the last question that I have for you, and that's just pretty much asking you if you have any other updates or important information you want to share in terms of Jctc.
We've had an exciting week. On Monday, we announced a new scholarship, and I'm going to click on something here just so I make sure I get the the name. The Open Doors Diversity Scholarship. Okay. And it is scholarships for underrepresented minorities. It's the last dollar scholarship, and it is good for 1 year. It's this year. I don't know about future years. I don't want to speak for future years, but it is for our students. You do have to be complete the financial aid application, so you have to complete Fafsa. You need to be eligible. It is for first-time students at Jefferson, so it could be a transfer student as well if you have a transfer student who is listening. If you went through dual credit and you're like, oh no, I've already been through Jefferson, no, don't worry about it. You're still considered a first-time student, so that is awesome. And really, it's going to cover the last dollar of your tuition if you're not receiving grants or other scholarships that are able to cover tuition. This scholarship's going to come through and help you pay for your school. There are some requirements which you can get on our website. You do have to be a Kentucky resident, and you have to be degree seeking. You have to be a resident of Bullitt, Carroll, Gallatin, Henry, Jefferson, Oldham, Shelby, Spencer, or Trimble counties. So I wanted to throw that out there and read those because I knew I'd forget those. So for someone who's outside of Jefferson watching, that they could be eligible for this as well. It is the most exciting scholarship that we have had announced at Jefferson since I've been here. And the thing is, everybody's like, oh no, I'm going to have to, where's the application? There's no application. You need to be admitted to Jefferson. So there's an application. You have to be admitted through our application process, and you need to complete the financial aid form. There's not a separate scholarship application. Do it. I mean, right now, if you're sitting there going, I don't know how I'm going to pay for tuition, and you meet the criteria, this is going to be your opportunity to pay for college. You know, even if this scholarship only ends up running a year for you, that's a year that you don't have to pay for school.
Right.
And we have degree pathways. We have certifications through our technical programs that you can get done in like one class. You know, you could be a welder in one class. You know, and I know not everybody wants to be a welder, but that may be a career option for somebody, and that's how you can, you know, get through this and get it paid for. You know, take your 6 hours and get paid for. And sorry, I forgot to turn that off. And so this is a way for you to pay for your college education. And I'm elated. Like I knew about a week before that this was a possibility, and I kept every day just like, yes, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And when it was announced on Monday, it was so exciting. This is some good work that the college is doing, and hopefully will help a lot of students go through and complete their degree pathway.
So that kind of makes me think of trying to conceptualize that for some of the students that I'm working with. So if I have, or just if there's a student that has already applied, gotten in, taken their placement test, and filled out their Fafsa, how would they be able to engage with that scholarship now?
They can ask us questions, but we're going to do it all on the back end. We're going to do all the work for them. Now, there may be emails and notifications and things like that they want to make sure that they know what's going on. They can reach out to us and ask us questions specifically, but there's no, as long as they've completed the FAFSA, they're financial aid eligible, which means even only loans. I know that some people think when they hear that, they hear, well, I've got to be Pell Grant eligible. No, even only loans. If you completed the FAFSA and you're financial aid eligible, and you meet the criteria of the scholarship, and you are degree seeking, and you are in 6 hours or more, we're going to cover that last dollar. So it's very similar to the Work Ready scholarship that Kentucky's been doing, but those are very specific degree pathways. This is for anything. So we are here to hopefully help and get you started through your career. Or maybe even get you through if all you need is that 1 year or even one semester to get your degree that you want to go on to work. You can do that.
Yeah, that's super exciting to hear, especially like that announcement just came out this Monday.
Yeah, this last Monday.
Yeah, so we could definitely when this video comes out or it's released, attach that information to it. You said we go through your through the Jctc website.
It's all on there. We've posted it to our social media, on Twitter, on our Facebook page. You can definitely follow it there. A lot of the news media in Louisville picked up the story. So it's in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So and we've received really positive feedback. And of course, as I say, everything as of right now, 6:17, 3:50 p.m. is true. So just keep an eye out on your email, and if you have questions, please let us know, and we will, because it can be a confusing scholarship. College in general can be confusing in how you're going to pay for it, but we're hoping to relieve students' minds on that may need that in this time. And so much going on in the world. So this is the way that we're trying to help support the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to thank you again, Jimmy, for joining us today and providing our students and families with a lot of helpful information that can help them, make some of these big decisions moving into the fall. So for those of you that are going to be watching, remember you can follow Jctc at Jefferson_Jctc on Twitter, and also you can like them on their Facebook page. And you can also visit, as it was posted throughout this conversation, jefferson.kctcs.edu if you want to follow up on any of the information that Jimmy has talked about today. And I also want to thank all of you that view this whenever that may be. And if you aren't already, make sure you follow us, Evolve502, on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And please be sure to share this video with students and families who you think could really benefit from this, because there was a lot of really great information today. So once again, thank you all for joining us, and stay safe, stay well, and we will see you next time.